Good morning, sir.
Hello?
Hello.
I'm audible, sir?
Sir, your voice is not audible, sir.
I'm not audible. I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible as well as you are visible. Now I would like to
Okay.
request Dr. Nirav. He is one of the
Okay.
participants who will introduce you
Yeah, please,
as a
please.
guest speaker
Yeah,
for this tomorrow, for this today's morning session.
Acha, no problem, sir.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning and welcome, one and all, sir. And sir, I am audible, sir?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Okay. So today is our third day of refresher course in environmental science. I, Dr. Nirav Pandya, Director of Physical Education, VMV College, Nagpur. I am very thankful to UGC HRDC Director, Dr. Dekhe sir, UGC HRDC Dr. Preeti Dharbik madam, and I am thankful to our course coordinator, Professor Praveen Mishram sir, for giving me this today's our honor to introduce today's our guest, Dr. J. Narayanan sir, from Head of the Department Environmental Science, Kuvempu University, Shankarghata, Karnataka. Sir, you were member of state level expert appraisal committee uh, by government of India and also government of Karnataka.
I think one or two sentences is enough. I think now there is no shortage of time.
Yeah, sure, sir.
So that we will continue, please. Don't worry about my introduction.
Sure, sir. So
Okay.
today's your subject is major environmental issues and challenges. So you were published 130 publications in national and international journals, and 26 students completed his PhD under the supervision of you, sir. Sir, thank you so much
Thank you.
for today's our third session. So let's we start our third session of environmental science. Thank you.
Very nice introduction you have given. Thank you very much for brief introduction. And at the outset, I thank Professor Meshram sir for inviting me for this refresher course as a guest, as a special lecture presentation. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your continuous cooperation from the academic as well as research progress of our Kuvempu University as well as the Nagpur University. So thank you very much, sir. So now
Thank
you. It's a great pleasure to meet all the teachers from various degree colleges, maybe all over India. I think you're all participating in this refresher course, particularly very important subject you have selected, that is environmental studies. So today I'm going to discuss about an overview of environmental issues in India. I think you're all familiar that maybe you're all familiar that there may be global environmental issues. Commonly, we used to use the term issues related to global impact, environment changes, what are the environmental issues are there in global level. But maybe we have not yet discussed about the local issues pertaining to the environment, as well as regional issues and the national issues. So until and otherwise, without having discussion with about the local environmental issues, particularly in India, what we are all today, we are all facing environmental issues in India. Maybe that is most important in order to understand the future, the impact which we are going to face the society as well as the population So therefore, in order to understand in lot of environmental issues, which is increasing day by day, I think you all know that every day it is a new issue coming out pertaining to environment. So therefore, it is very difficult to understand. Even also the authorities also, it is very difficult to manage, because such an issue is what is called as coming out every day. So therefore, it is an urgent need of the hour that it is necessary to understand, being we the teachers, as well as researchers, as well as the students, even the layman, every individual, it is responsible to understand the environment and its importance for the future, what is called as control of pollution, as well as whatever the environmental issues are there that has to be managed properly, that should be protected, and conservation of environment is need of the hour. So in this background, I think today I'm going to have a discussion with you in detail about an overview of environmental issues in India. So I think all of you are following, no? Please. All of you are following?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Please. I think this is the first slide. I think you maybe it is visible to you, human and nature. I think this picture, I think you can see the people who are catching fish in one of the water body, maybe local water body. So what it indicates that, see, environment is surrounding, which plays vital role in the survival of living creatures. So whatever the resources which we have in this earth, all the people, they particularly human being, we are dependent on that. Until otherwise, without there is resources, maybe it is very difficult for the survival of human being, even also living creatures. So therefore, think of this water body. See, the people who are always depends on water bodies, where maybe in the rural area, urban area, semi-urban area, wherever it may be. See, the water resource, because of the water resources which is there, the people who are reached to that place and thinking that there may be a resource, that is a fish resource, and various other resources, they are what is called as getting utilized. So therefore, this is how what is called as we are continuously deeply connected with nature. So the nature which provides everything for us. So this nature, without whatever the resources the nature is providing, today the human beings development, progress, socio-economic development, economic development, social growth, as well as overall development is because of what today is because of the natural resources. So that too, it is pristine resources. Only it is helpful for us for getting to lead our life, daily life. Suppose if you think that the water body, it is contaminated by industrial discharge of effluents or sewage or any toxicants, if it is present in this water body, maybe you think that there is no resources, that is fish resources may be available. Even though resource is available, this fish may be contaminated. This contaminated resource may be not good for health as well as the other creatures. In this way, I think it is necessary that if you maintain a very pristine environment, a good environment, okay, particularly whether it is water, soil, air, any resources which we are surrounding, it is necessary to require. So then only we will be healthy, we will be what is called as our progress may be also in a what is called as growth and progress and development. It is useful to human existence. So what now today what is happening, that these water bodies, these resources are not suitable for use and because of the human activities. This human activities impact is nowadays increasing day by day. So therefore, that we have to understand why we human beings, what is called as, though we are utilizing the resources, but at the same time we are degrading the resources and exploiting the resources in a what is called as extrinsic way. That is the reason I think it should be very, very important that we should understand the nature of environmental resources that should be judiciously used as well as without any harming to the environment. I think you may be understood in this slide. Okay, please give your interaction. Otherwise, maybe whether you are following or not, I may not be knowing. Okay, please. Shall I? Shall I? Shall I continue?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
So
sir.
India, yeah,
Yes,
India,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
yeah, India harmony with nature. I think you're all familiar. We Indians, I think we are always what is called as have very good respect with the nature, and because we always consider that all the resources are seems to be a very good of life, particularly the support of our environment. So therefore, long history of tradition of living with harmony with nature. See, for example, sacred groves, I think you may be knowing. And we are sacred groves maintained by the local communities, tribal communities, that they are protecting. Though the forest department may be there, but the sacred groves protected by the communities, local communities and tribals, because they have the consideration of like God. So therefore, every plant and animal, we have a very good harmony with nature, we respect, and we are not killing. I think you all know that we are not killing cobra, we are not killing some animals, though because that is the reason till today we have maintained the biodiversity is because of the tradition which what we have developed since the ages. So though whatever the tradition, whatever the culture, and that directly interrelated with the nature and human beings, but in recent decades, maybe that may be lost or missed. I think that is the reason maybe degradation going very fast. That we will going to discuss. So therefore, respect for nature is an integral part of the value system in this country, so that we are valuing to the natural resources, whether it's plant or animal, even air, the water, isn't it? And I think the rivers are sacred rivers. We are doing puja, and really it is and soil, even after harvest of the grains, we consider that as one of the what is called as harmony with the, because the God has provided the resources. So considering that we are living and the second one is, we should not forget that we should keep it in mind that earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. So I think you're all familiar about Mahatma Gandhi has mentioned, said that it's a very important statement that, see, earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need. So therefore, whatever the population we may produce in this earth, but it is possible to what is called as provide the resources to lead the life. But according to Mahatma Gandhi, what he has given at the end of the sentence, that but not for every man's greed. So today, I think this is the one which we are facing. Because of the greed, we have exploited the pristine environmental resources, maybe forest resources, maybe water resources, and air is contaminated, and the water is not used for drinking, and water is not used for even for irrigation, and not water is not used for some even for the recreational use. So such a way that the water bodies, the water resources which we have contaminated because of the growth and development, fast growth and development. Indiscriminately now we are disposing the wastewater as well as effluent as well as solid waste. So therefore, I think this which we have to keep it in mind that the earth provides enough to satisfy. So therefore, the earth provided the resources. It took millions of years to develop such a bio resources as well as the environment. So today, within thousands of years, what after the human existence, what we are going to spoil the quality of the environment and degrading the environment, and whatever the biodiversity which is present in this earth slowly what is called as extincting, and it is endangered is because of the fast interaction with human existence. So therefore, it is very, very important that we should keep it in mind that whatever we require, whatever the amount we require, the resources, that much only which we should depend. Okay, so that is what I think we are using the term sustainable utilization of resources. I think that is the one which we should be keep it in mind that future every one of us think of about sustainable utilization of the resources without impact on the resources for any future generations. That I think you're all familiar, that we're going to discuss later. Okay. Similarly, you're all familiar that I think this is the slide which you can observe here. Environmental problems in India. Problems are increasing, though it is a very big country and population is high and resources are consuming fast. So therefore, the huge number of people live in slums, sited in low-lying points and at the end of pipe sites is because of the what is called as indiscrimination and whatever is the imbalance of the resources the people we are using. So therefore, because of the assuming continued economic liberalization and increased urbanization, the damage to environment and health could be enormous. So therefore, maybe this will going to be damage, irreparable damage in future. That's what we should be take care of about local environmental problems without any pollution increase. So coming to the discussion of why environment is changing, I think since the long maybe after 5 decades, before 5 decades or 6 decades, maybe there was no environmental big change which can observe. So now is because of industrialization and because of the enormous what is called as growth of the population and increase of urbanization, and environmental changes are those that take part of this ecosystem in a way that may cause harm or damage to living things. So ultimately, whatever the growth and development is directly affect on the environmental changes and is definitely affect on the ecosystem, whether it is terrestrial ecosystem, whether it is aquatic ecosystem. There are maybe various types of ecosystems. Today we are facing the impact and the life is under threat. So therefore, these changes, the problems are environmental problems occur when there is an imbalance between human activities and natural process. That's what we have discussed, I think, in the previous slide. So I think you can see the slide here, maybe the industries producing, releasing a lot of air pollution, and the atmosphere is highly polluted, and a lot of the development is progressed. So now all of you know that we are all experiencing that. It is also visible, and it is also true that the environment is constantly changing and also evolving. Means evolving means it is not going back to a pristine environment. The atmosphere is contaminating with the gaseous pollutants, very lot of dust, and the various the allergic contaminants are increasing in the atmosphere. So therefore, and whatever the population is growing, with it the demand for resources. When there is a demand for resources, definitely it will going to degrade the environment. So that is also one which we should think of, that later we'll discuss about how the population is going to impact on the natural resources consumption. So this can often hurt the environment, and it is important to be aware of the environmental issues facing India and the world. So therefore, this is very important to understand that though we have a rich and long history of environmental laws dating back to the 1970s, I think you all know that we are having our own Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and we have pollution control boards, and we have forest control authorities, and the water boards. Even then, it is still ranks very low on air and water pollution levels compared to the rest of the world. So till today, I think we are not yet maintaining the quality of the environment. Take for example, water quality, as well as air quality and solid waste management and biodiversity balance, ecological balance, forest management. So all these, I think we have somehow maybe failed, though we have what is called as having a lot of what is called as rich and long history of environmental laws. Even then, I think the quality is degrading day by day, and the issues are rising. In this connection, I think you all know that the poor sanitation conditions and sewage problems compound the problem affecting the health of ordinary citizens in India. So in urban areas, you all know that the sewage is running like rivers, and this untreated sewage is directly reached to the water bodies, and the sewage contaminated with organic and inorganic characteristics, the constituents, impurities reach to the fresh water, particularly clean water bodies, and water is going to be contaminated and not fit for various purposes. That already we are all familiar that if you go and see in urban areas, most of the water bodies, even rivers and lakes, are highly contaminated because of the discharge of the untreated sewage reach to the water bodies, and the water is not used for, though water is a resource for life, but the water is a very limited resource, pristine resource, but the water is not useful for drinking, even for taking bath, as well as for various other purposes. So this is how what is called as the water resources, which though it is a shortage, though it is a scarcity, but the amount of water which whatever we have in our local water bodies, particularly in urban areas, it is not supposed to be used for, it is dead, it considered as a dead. And even it is impact on groundwater contamination because of the sewage load is high with organic and inorganic nutrients. Okay, all are following, please, all of you are following, dear friends?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And coming to, that's what I told you, what are the environmental laws we have in India. I think see, environmental related provisions in the Indian Constitution itself is given, it is a provision that the environment should be protected, and that is the reason the Minister of Environment and Forest and Climate Change and the other the administrative policies, what is called as implemented the enacted laws, that is Wildlife Protection Act for control and conserve wildlife, that is Act in 1972. The Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act is there. If anybody in industries or the public, if the water is the exploited the resources, if they pollute, if they discharge effluents without any treatment, there may be, according to the, based on the Water Pollution Act 1974, we can take what is called as a stringent action. So similarly, the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act is there, Environmental Protection Act is there, and Energy Conservation Act is there, Biological Diversity Act is there, Scheduled Tribes and other traditional forest dwellers and Act is there, National Green Tribunal Act is there. Similarly, Compensatory Afforestation Fund Act is there. See, there are so many, what is called as the balance, in order to balance ecological balance as well as the maintenance of the environment, management of the environment. There are various the acts are regulating, but how best the acts are we are using in order to what is called as for the victims, that is also most important. In that way, I think it has to be taken to consider for the stringent action. So just I'll give you some of the important glimpses of the impact what we are facing today. Nearly 30,000 water bodies have been encroached. I think in India, maybe it is a small, maybe a statistics. Maybe if you take in your surrounding area, you may be knowing that even in rural areas or urban areas or wherever it may be, whatever the water bodies, it is the water storage capacity is decreased, and the water level is contaminated. Water is completely eutrophicated, and whatever the land use land cover impact, because of that the area is completely reduced. The lakes or rivers or whatever it may be. So therefore, nearly 30,000 water bodies have been encroached, and that will be converted into developmental activities, maybe for the growth of building construction, maybe for agriculture, maybe for various other purposes. So that is also one which, if you go for what is called as encroaching these such a very important useful water bodies, maybe tomorrow we won't get the water resources, even the water which is the surface water, which is very useful for percolation of groundwater. Maybe the groundwater depletion is also we have experienced is because of the though there is no water sources, which is we are conserving the water resources. That is also one impact. I think that we should take into consider one of the major issues that we should think in future, that water supply to the common man to lead of the life. It is very important that to the water bodies, if you are go on encroaching, and that is converted into the useless water bodies or dead water bodies. So that is also one of the major severe threat what we are the people who are neglected in this line. I think that is also one which we should think in. And you know that India generates nearly 150,000 tons of municipal solid waste every day. So I think this is the area which the quantity of solid waste is increasing day by day because of the lifestyle of the human activity, human beings, because of the developmental activities, because of the economic growth and our modern lifestyle. And we consume lot of the materials and we dispose. Though the materials are useful, but people consider that they are not utilizing that in a sustainable way. So that way, maybe quantity of waste is increasing every day, and where we have to dump, where we have to what is called as what is the area which is required. If you go on produce such a huge quantity of solid waste in urban areas or green, even rural areas, this is the one which the major issue which we are facing. I think maybe we will discuss later in detail about solid waste. Okay. Um, Similarly, environmental crimes continue unabated, and India's overall global rank in meeting India's United Nations mandated sustainable development goal has slipped by 9 places. I think that we are going to discuss. And coming to the very important uh, slide that you may be heard about the Stockholm Conference, United Nations Conference on the Human Environment 1972. So maybe people neglected, people not aware about the environment prior to 1972, and global issues are it was increasing. And maybe later, maybe United Nations Conference on Human Environment invited all the nations in the global nations and discussed, and they have come to the conclusion that the first UN program focused solely on environmental issues. The conference also created United Nations Environment Program UNEP, and since then I think all over the world, the globally, the awareness is increased, and what today the universities, colleges, the environmental science, environmental studies, what the subject is compulsory for what is called to teach for students, as well as to create awareness to the public. I think maybe this the conference plays very important role, as well as vital to the environmental management point of view. So coming to the very important the after UNEP, World Commission on Environment and Development, that is held in 1987, they brought a very important report that is called as Common Future, also known as Brundtland report. I think this is purely discussed about the environmental issues and what will be the future strategies to take into consider for sustainable management. So likewise, Rio Declaration Environment Development Series principles defining the rights and responsibility of states. And later they have brought Agenda 21, that is a global plan of action to promote sustainable development. And during 2002, in Johannesburg, 26th August to 4th September 2002, that is World Summit on Sustainable Development conference was held. So likewise, I think not only in India, as well as the world leaders, particularly, I think we're all familiar that the first time our Indian Prime Minister, Madam Indira Gandhi, participated particularly in this World Commission on Environment report, particularly Stockholm Conference. And coming to the major impact that it is very important to discuss that major environmental issues India population. I think see the statistics in India, that is at present population in 2023, it is more than 1.486 billion, and I think we have overcome to the China also today. I think by 2030 our population will reach maybe 1.5, and by 2050 think of 2 billion. And for likewise, don't say that it is not stopped. It won't stop. The population may not stop. The Indian okay. So that think of what is the resources, amount of resource which we have to supply to the stakeholders. So that we should think of because of the huge population which what we are having. Therefore, that we should provide food production, we should produce food for all in order to meet the hungry, and land degradation takes place. I think now only, I think most of the agricultural land is degraded, and because of the fertilizers and pesticides what we are simply pouring into the soil indiscriminately. I think that also you are familiar. So therefore, this rapid population growth inputs pressure on resources and services, leading to environmental degradation, poverty, and inequality. I think that you're all familiar what we are facing. Poverty is one side, and inequality is there, and the environmental degradation is also high. Population of India, it is every year it is increasing. Please later I'll share these slides for your use. I think maybe it is not clearly visible. Okay, shall I please? Are you following, please?
Yes,
Dear friends?
Yes, sir.
Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
And coming to ecological perspective, if this population, because of growth, puts enormous pressure on natural resources, leading to overconsumption, deforestation, water scarcity, and pollution. Of course, so take into consider the ecological perspective because of the overconsumption, because we need to cut forest for the agricultural production, because for everyone thinking that they need land for cultivation. Even the employees now, even the officers, even doctors, even engineers, I think they are going for what is called as interest to go for the cultivation of land, particularly agricultural development. So therefore, in order to supply what is called as the land requirement for the people, so that there is no alternative that they will be on pressure of the natural resources, particularly forest. So deforestation is going indiscriminately. Okay. So coming to the urbanization is an issue, I think, in India. Now, I think even taluka level is growing very fast. Even the district, small districts, okay, growing very fast. Even semi-urban areas growing very fast. And urban growth means, I think we all know that the urbanization, people moving towards rural to urban because of the employment, and they are migrating, and they require a lot of space for them. they require a lot of the resources for them in order to lead the life in the urban area. So therefore, I think they are vacating the rural areas day by day because for various reasons. I think that I don't want to discuss in detail. Maybe what I experienced in our local area, people, because if there is an employment and there is a demand for uh, uh, economic resources, definitely people move towards the urban area where the people neglected the rural areas. And today, that is the reason, maybe because of the industrial growth, because of the small the business centers as well as the industrial growth and small uh, scale industries developed in and around urban areas, even taluka level. I think the people started moving towards urban area. So therefore, this is one of the double-edged sword. One, on one hand, provides people with varied opportunities and scope for economic development. On the other, exposes community to new threats. Okay. For example, you may be knowing that Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, Hyderabad, even Bangalore, Chennai, and various other cities, Bruhat metropolitan cities facing the threats, particularly people are social stress uh, and uh, the whole environment is what is called as degraded, and people not able to sustain in that particular reasons is because of the various the pollution of water, pollution of the air, and various other activities. So therefore, India's major challenges are directly attributable to its extremely high population density, especially the rise in urban centers. So urban India is growing rapidly in terms of population size. The increase in number of large cities with a million plus population is adding to the environmental problems faced by the country. That's what I told you. There are a number of cities today. I think millions of the population. It was a major threat to the environment, particularly local environment. That leads to global environmental changes. Okay. So major environmental issues, particularly with respect to pollution and waste. You all know that in urban areas, there may be a lot of industries because industrial areas, industrial growth is, I think it is, of course, it is need, but think of the environmental point of view, ecological point of view, the industrial waste, that is hazardous waste, it generate toxic waste from various industries. This is what maybe when compared to municipal solid waste, industrial solid waste disposal is a major issue in urban areas. You cannot dispose as it is, like the landfill site, what we are the municipal solid waste, what we are going to use. So toxic waste that has to be properly treated. That waste should be systematically landfilled with the help of engineering landfill method, and this then only it is we can control. So quantity of toxic waste is increasing from industries, particularly in urban areas, and where we have to throw that, where we have to dump, and this is a major challenge that we are facing in particularly in future. These dumping sites may also causes a lot of environmental imbalance to the threats to the local environment that yeah, I think you are all familiar. And management is a big challenge. Landfill site in future may impact on overall environment and health. That's what I discussed. Okay, sorry. I think it is visible. Slides are visible, no?
Yes, sir.
Dear
Yes,
friends,
sir. Yes, sir.
visible, no? Good. So You're all familiar, the air pollution. If you go to Delhi, if you go to Mumbai, if you go to Calcutta, if you go to Chennai, if you go to any place, particularly in India, not only the topmost metropolitan cities, even in even in taluka level, the air quality is depleted. Air quality is what is called as local air environment is highly contaminated. It is therefore, according to the World Air Quality Report 2021, India is home to 63 of 100 most polluted sites in New Delhi, named as the capital with worst air quality in the world. I think you're all familiar that the Delhi city, I think how many schools are closed because of the even industries are closed. See, this is the situation what we are facing because the development, the automobile growth, the population increase, and the industrial emission. See, the whatever the required quality environment, it is required for the to lead the life in the urban area, maybe not suitable. People started moving towards rural areas because of because of the health issues they are facing every day. I think now people came to understand the environment issues, particularly in urban areas. So started moving towards rural area and doing their own work with a pristine environment, getting with nature, with working with nature, interacting with nature. So therefore, maybe though the urban area may be urban environment, maybe it looks appear to be very very interesting. Maybe at the same time, maybe not supporting. The environment is not supporting for daily leading life. That is also one which we are facing. Air pollution has become a huge problem in India. I think you all know that. That's what we have discussed. India is also home to some of the most polluted cities in the world. This includes New Delhi, which was ranked first for air pollution by WHO Global Ambient Air Quality Database, according to 1992 studies. And coming to the greenhouse gas emissions and global temperature change, because the industrial emissions, automobile emissions, and the even also for the enormous growth of the agricultural production, even the plant degradation, decomposition, particularly the paddy fields, release methane, greenhouse gases, okay, and the emission of various greenhouse gases trap heat near the Earth's surface, leading to a general warming trend that leads to sea level rise and ecological disruption, increase in severe weather events, hurricanes, floods, and droughts. What today we are definitely it is experienced, I think in Himachal Pradesh and various other areas. I think maybe we are all experienced because of the general warming trend and future. Maybe the it's a irreparable damage what we are going to face. And India's monsoon is likely to be disrupted. I think you all know that maybe during this year, maybe you may not be knowing that during June is a rainy season, monsoon season, but we have not yet received very good rain. Therefore, this is what is called as India's monsoon is shifting towards maybe further the other months. So therefore, it's expected and yields of rice and wheat in Punjab are likely to fall substantially with temperature and rainfall changes because of the change of temperature, increase of temperature, whatever the yield is disrupted, agriculture is disrupted. So this is also one of the major issues what we are facing. Coming to the water resources and quality concern. This is a very, very important that uh, one should think about importance of the resources. India is rich in water resources, being endowed with a network of rivers and blessed with snow cover in Himalayan range that can meet a variety of water requirements of country. Maybe only during rainy season we are getting we'll receive rain, and whatever the rain water it reach to the water bodies, particularly lakes, rivers, wetlands, that will be accumulated, and maybe this is only 1 or 2 months or 3 months or 4 months based on the condition of the climate and the area, the water which receives. But the pristine water quality is degrading, and I think see the one of the river which is located in the Western Ghat region. I think it shows a very clear, transparent, without any pollution. So if it is in urban area, think of the water color, the water turbidity, water the constituents, physicochemical constituents, organic and inorganic impurities are high in such areas. So you can compare with the water resources which is present in urban, particularly the forest region, where there is no human activities or less. Think of the water is very good, even it is not at all required for what is called as filter, as well as disinfection, as well as what is called as use of any further treatment. This is what is called as nature has given what is called as valuable resource to human beings. Coming to the forest cover in India, I think total forest cover in India in 2023 it is more than 7,13,789 square kilometers. It is 21.71% of the total geographical area of the country. So India added 1,540 square kilometer of forest cover from 290 to 2021. I think the statistics is showing like that. And the forest, nearly 2,000 forest fires have been recorded across Karnataka in the recent past. So forest fire is increasing because of the climate change, because of the human activity. And I think we all know that once there is a forest fire, it completely destroy the whole local biodiversity, important the species, important valuable life which is present in the area. So therefore, foresters had tough time controlling the blaze in several parts of the Charmudi Ghat in the Western Ghats. Likewise, there are various issues. Forest fire is also one of the worsen the already deteriorating air quality across the country. So it also produces greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, and it increased to the reach to the atmosphere, and that is also contributing the air pollution load as well as climate change impact. Okay. Dear students, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Students,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
okay, shall I continue?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So the year 2016, the hottest on the record, when India's annual temperature rose 0.71 degrees Celsius above the annual average of 25 degrees Celsius. So because of the various issues, the Indian climate change, India has lost 90% of the area under its 4 biodiversity hotspots, with the Indo-Burma hotspot taking the worst hit. Burning the timber increased the level of carbon dioxide in the air. I think you're all familiar that deforestation also, which contributing the greenhouse gas, particularly burning of the timber, whatever the carbon which is present in the trees that release to the atmosphere, and if it is the carbon sequestration, it is maintained, if it is released to the environment, that is major impact. So less trees means less carbon dioxide absorbed by observed for photosynthesis. Soil is eroded and is exposed to the wind and rain. If there is deforestation, definitely the soil is completely removed and it erodes, and more of landslides is going to be experienced. It results landslides, particularly in the hilly regions. Particularly even in Karnataka, we have experienced during rainy season because of the heavy floods. The most of the hilly areas where, because of the deforestation and the encroachment, the landslides were shows high and people get impacted. Less water is transferred into the atmosphere, and many animal and plant habitats are destroyed, causing extinction of species. Okay, so therefore, if forest is destroyed, we are also losing the important valuable species. In 2009, India ranked 10th worldwide in the amount of forest loss. Deforestation started with the growth of agriculture. Deforestation, that is because of the agricultural expansion, commercial forestry, shifting cultivation, development, mining, etc. Particularly in nearby the forest areas, the people started encroached for the developmental activities, and that is contributing the various impact on the biodiversity. What are the consequences of deforestation? Deforestation has affected the lives of wild animals and birds, the soil erosion, climate change, and women's livelihoods, particularly water recharge and loss of biodiversity. And deforestation is reducing rainfall in India. That is IIT Bombay study, what they have studied. When there is a lot deforestation takes place, I think rainfall is going to reduce. Today, I think that's what we are always, the very good plantation is necessary in order to improve the greenery, green environment. The biomass enrichment always attracts the clouds, and that will going to be improve the rainfall, intensity of rainfall in the local environment. Definitely, it will going to reduce food production. When there is a forest, it provides food for the local tribals, as well as the medicinal plants, and all the food products whatever we are getting, maybe the fruits and various other food production which is providing by the forest area. And because of deforestation, the flooding and landslides also common. A loss of livelihoods for forest dwellers also we can experience. Okay, so I think this we have discussed. Now coming to the biodiversity, that's what biodiversity is very important, because the people who depend on the biodiversity. Without biodiversity, there is no growth and development, economic development, social development, and people need the biodiversity, the whatever the life which is present in the forest, that is a resource for every human being. So therefore, the biodiversity loss is increasing, particularly even in India's freshwater biodiversity has experienced 80%, 84% decline, and 16% of freshwater species are threatened due to water pollution. Later, I'll discuss about this, why freshwater biodiversity nearly 84% decline is because of the pollution load. And loss of biodiversity because of the loss of genetic species and ecosystem diversity, and traditional seeds lost, traditional knowledge loss, and seed banks. Okay, I think this is what is called as the tribals having their own traditional knowledge for the local the biodiversity. Particularly, they know the value of the each and every plant and animal, and the seeds. What is the use of the seeds? I think you're all familiar about the people biodiversity register. This is what is called as whatever the people know, particularly the traditional knowledge is very important for our future conservation of the biodiversity. So maintaining biodiversity is very necessary for a healthy ecosystem. Biodiversity helps protect us from natural disasters like floods and droughts. During rainstorms, biodiversity absorbs excess storm water, and during dry periods, it retains moisture. Even during rainy season, I think, even in summer season, you will get water. The water provides from the forest because of the recharging by the root system. Whatever the plants are absorbed, the water, and later it will be recharged and reach to the water bodies. I think maybe you can see some of the waterfalls even in rainy season, summer season. You can see waterfalls where because of the plants rich forest, if it is there, it will going to absorb and retain water in the root system. And about 1.11 million hectares have been lost since 1951. It also causes imbalance in ecosystems where animals cannot survive and find food. I think this we have discussed water resources of India, rapid increase in population of the country, and the need to meet the increasing demands for irrigation, which we have to provide water for irrigation to produce the food products and human and industrial consumption. And for industries also need a lot of water for cooling and for manufacturing process. And the available water resources in many parts of the country are getting depleted and water quality has also deteriorated. So think of how to overcome the problem in future. This is also one of the major challenge what we have to think about the importance of water resources that have to be protected. Okay, so the rivers are the source of drinking water for urban and rural areas, raw water for industries and irrigation. Though the rivers having the water, maybe the water is highly polluted, and now we are spending crores of rupees for restoration of rivers, and we are spending crores of rupees for what is called as the uh, treatment of the river water. Is it what is called as the economic resource we are spending? It is too much high. It is burden to the society, and it is what the tax paid by the public. It is highly what is called as burden to the common man. So therefore, in that way, the natural water bodies are highly contaminating is because of the disposal of untreated water as well as untreated sewage, untreated effluent, and many of the urban runoff water which is reached to the water bodies. So therefore, the demand for water is very increasing, leading to over extraction. This abstraction of water in excess from the river lessens the flow in it. So therefore, day by day, everybody requires water for what is called as demand, particularly in the agriculture sector. That's the reason every farmer is going for drilling borewell, groundwater, and how much groundwater which we can exploit from the underground. Is it water is available? Is it the water is recharging? I think you may be familiar that I heard that Punjab government is not permitting the what is called as the drilling bore wells without government permission. So this is the what is called as very right step they have taken, because that people simply they are going for drilling bore wells everywhere and exploiting the water underground resources. And that may be the another irreparable damage to the even in Earth's axis. Are you following, dear students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, shall I?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And very interestingly, I think because of this, many rivers suffer from silt deposition in its bed, reducing flow and disturbing the ecosystem. The major impact now is many rivers and as well as reservoirs filled with silt and reducing the flow and disturbing the ecosystems. So though there is a water reaching to the reservoirs, but it is as early as possible the water level is reached to the upper level, means the say because of the silt, because the depth of the water bodies is reduced, and because it is reason is because of the encroach the what is called as the where the forest area uh, where in and around the rivers, uh, because of the deforestation, the increasing of silt takes place, erosion is increasing and removing all the soil and reach to the water bodies. So this is what is called as deforestation near the source of the rivers is leading to soil erosion, landslide, floods, silt formation and sedimentation in rivers is also increasing. And in future, again, it is which we have to spend more of the budget which we had to spend the lot of the economic burden to the common man, that in order to remove the silt it requires a lot of economic challenge. So in Indian rivers, siltation rate is among the highest in the world. It has been estimated that about 135,000 million metric tons of sediment load and 32,000 million tons of soluble matter enter into ocean through various rivers. Not only the rivers is filled with sediment, but also the rivers also carrying lot of sediment, so lot of the nutrients, lot of the impurities and solid matter to the mouth of the ocean, that is near the rivers, particularly ocean. So we should not forget the another type of water body that is called as lakes, that is lentic water bodies. I think you're all familiar about everywhere there is a lakes, even in since the ages the tradition was the water supply to the people with the help of lakes only, because they have constructed lakes, man-made lakes, natural lakes, and people conserved lakes. So the lakes are very useful to the local every area in order to provide required water for agriculture, even drinking, even for various other utilization. So therefore, it acts as a sewage absorbers. Means, so wherever there is a lakes are there, it receiving lot of sewage. People discharge sewage and flood cushions and recharge zones for groundwater aquifers. Okay, and it is an ecosystem where a variety of birds and animals breed. Pisciculture means fish culture and aquaculture thrive, leading to source of income for people. People are depending on these lakes for various purposes, and today these lakes are dead, maybe not not useful, and people neglected also, because people depends on the channel fed water irrigated by the channel supply water and groundwater resources. For example, I think you may have heard about, maybe if you are any botany and zoology students, you maybe understand in many lakes, uncontrolled tourism has resulted in disturbance to the biodiversity of flora and fauna. A lot of the water hyacinth plant, that is the hydrophytes, okay, growth which is common in many lakes, resulting in breeding of vectors and consequently causing endemic diseases. Take for example, Loktak Lake, Dal Lake, and Ropar Lake are some of the examples. Are idol immersion. I think nowadays we are all familiar that the tradition of the festival, Ganapati festival, where all the idols will going to immerse in lakes, ponds, rivers, and even in ocean. And that too, it is during religious festivals in many cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, Bhopal, leading to discharge of dyes and paints. In this, I think now we are under control, of course, by taking stringent action, and we are going for the eco-friendly, what is called as the idols, that is called as plant-based idols, like that. And issues with water quality in India, I think you see the status of the rivers is highly, people make use for various, particularly for wherever there is a temple, people go for taking bath, and they discharge all the waste materials and plastic and all the waste materials. See the water, it is unfit for even for taking bath also. But even though people take bath because it is highly maybe irritating because of the biologically pathogens are high, and various other contaminants is also more in these water bodies because of the human activities. Okay. So more than 100 million people live in areas of poor water quality. Water quality is very poor, and people even then today, I think if you there may be news everywhere in the newspapers that people consumed the contaminated water and get infected, and even also they have died. People died is because of the impact of poor water quality people consume. This is what the nature today. And what are the climate change poses serious threats to challenges and challenges because annual rainfall decrease, okay, because of the rainfall, intense rainfall, flooding, agricultural decreases, large lake fisheries decline, water stress, sea level rise, spread of infectious diseases is also held. And I think we have discussed 95% of India's groundwater depletion attributed to many of the areas in Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, and Uttar Pradesh. Not only these places, everywhere it is common because of over exploitation of underground water, and we are not recharging water because of there is no plantation. When there is no plantation, there is no recharge, and this is also one of the major impact that we should think of to improve the aquifers in the underground water for future depends on groundwater resources. Okay. So there are 20 million users of groundwater in the country. The incessant and mindless withdrawal over the past decades has suddenly triggered of a series of crises. I think we are going in deep, even though water is not getting, and farmers committing suicide is because of the drilling borewell, though they are not getting water. You see, this is a major challenge. The economic burden to the farmers, economic burden to the society. I think that we should think. Coming to the pollution, I think we should not forget that the water is polluted is because of illegal dumping of raw sewage, silt and garbage into rivers and lakes has seriously polluted India's waters. So I think I told you, if you want to know the water where there is a very clean, crystal clear water, you have to go there only in the forest areas where there is no impact of human activities. If there is a human activity, if there is a urban area, if there is any industrial and the human residences are there you can see the water is highly polluted. The water bodies are not supposed to be fit for any purpose. Okay. So most cities in India produce almost 40,000 million liter of sewage per day. Though it is because we don't have a very systematic sewage treatment plants still today, even in some of the district areas, because whatever the sewage which we produce from residences, commercial areas, and in urban areas, that has directly reached to the water bodies, and maybe think of the quality of both surface and groundwater is deteriorated. Okay. Every day, lot of
Dr. Narayana sir. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, Dr. Narayana sir. Actually,
Yes,
her time is over, na, sir. Please.
I'll go
please,
fast.
you are requested to finish out your within 5 minutes and have some little bit discussion also, because our next guest speaker have also reached. She has also arrived.
Oh, already time is over.
Yeah.
12:30.
Ready.
Yes. I'll go fast, sir. I'll go fast.
Otherwise, you can put, you can rest of the PowerPoint presentation, you can forward to their group.
Yeah, I will forward the
He
same
can
also.
continue
Okay.
his lecture, sir.
Okay.
So that another 5 minutes,
Mashran ji,
5-10
sir,
minutes.
सर को कंटिन्यू करके खत्म करने दीजिए. There is no problem.
Okay, madam. Okay.
Okay. See the situation of the polluted river stretches in 2015. You can see a huge quantity of the solid waste is dumped in river beds. The water is highly contaminated. Okay, so I think you all heard about the restoration, what is called as restoration. Restoration is very, very important, but you are not supposed to go for restoration, because natural purification is very important. If there is the water body is not able to tolerate the natural purification because of the increase of overload of pollutants we are dumping into the water bodies. Therefore, restoration the water quality of our rivers and other water bodies such as lakes is a major challenge. And why we have to spend huge money here in this line? I think it is one of the we are polluting and we are going for restoration. It is not a way of what is called as managing environmental management. Therefore, safe drinking water supply and keeping water bodies clean, which are difficult challenges in this line. Similarly, coming to the land is degrading because of the over discharge of the contaminants, particularly these sewage as well as the industrial effluents and solid waste, and particularly plastic is dumping in nearby the land, and where the land is not suitable for agricultural cultivation, and it is again we are going for phytoremediation, that is also which is highly impossible, that we have to spend huge money in this line. Coming to the solid waste management, I will go very fast, though it is a lot of slides we have, I think, but even then I will send the slides, I think, because of initially I think we got some problem because of the PowerPoint presentation. So 150,000 tons per day of municipal solid waste produced in India, and this is very important that only 97% of it being collected. More than half of the waste still ends in dump sites, remains unattended. Waste generated around 47% is treated and 27% is sent to landfills. So it's a big challenge. Okay. And coming to the hazardous waste, we are producing a lot of hazardous waste, the biomedical waste, industrial waste, and we don't have a proper treatment system, proper disposal system here. See, a lot of plastic waste we have dumped in water bodies, and see the situation where the underground sewage canals, it is blocked the plastic materials, and it is completely hazardous threat to the environment. And gaseous pollutants are released during plastic incineration. People simply they put fire wherever there, because of in order to avoid waste, and to reduce the quantum of waste, and see carcinogens and dioxins are furans are releasing to the environment, and that will going to contribute to release to the climate change. Okay. I'll go fast, please. Consequences of climate change. And illegal dumps are there. Health hazards arising out of dump yard in, okay. And these are the some of the important slides. I think you can later can check. Coming to Swachh Bharat mission, we have, I think, very, very important. Though we have the government is taking all the steps for what is called as managing solid waste, but even then in India, till today, the solid waste is not yet completely managed, not completely collected, segregated, transported, and disposal system, and reuse, recycle, and reduce. Maybe we are not yet up to the mark. I think that way, I think this is the challenge which we have to take care of as early as possible for the point of environmental point of view. And waste can be converted into bioresource, resource as a power. We can convert into power. We can convert to various useful products, and that is also possible. Nowadays, I think many, I think municipalities, commercial, sorry, corporations taking all the steps to mitigate solid waste management, mitigate solid waste, and reusing, recycling, and reducing the solid waste. So coming to the wetlands, I think, sorry. Okay. Wetlands is a source for food, particularly it provides food for local stakeholders, and people are depending on that. But today, what is happening? The on wetlands provide medicinal valuable plants. Very important. People are depending on that. But these wetlands attract tourists, and it is also one of the ecotourism spots. And it is a very good, rich biodiversity in it, wetlands. And we have threatened all the wetlands, and thinking that it is a sewage dumping areas, instead of conserving water bodies, particularly wetlands. We are disposed all the sewage neglected. We don't know the value of the wetland resources, what it is going to provide to the common man. Okay, so see, because of the climate change, the severe drought, loss of biodiversity, growth of invasive species, because of the eutrophication of the water bodies by discharging of the sewage, increasing of nutrient load in water bodies. See, the one particular the particular species, Salvinia, it is abundant, it is covered abundantly, it is dominated, and see that there is no water, because for this it is restoration of such water bodies needs to be very, very important. Okay, what will be the impact of climate change on wetlands? Because of this increased temperature led to increase in the amount of oxygen level in the water level for respiration of aquatic fauna and process of organic matter and pollutants. Okay, so therefore these water bodies are under threat. Okay, and coming to the agriculture is a very, very important, organic farming as a tool for sustainable development. This is a very important, whatever the what is called as the present agricultural practice, what we are following, that is green revolution practice. Now all the land is degraded. The land may be having more of the pesticide residues, and the microbial life which is present in soil may be losing, is because even earthworms are losing, is because of the increase of acidity as well as alkalinity in the soil, and that will going to be impact on future the agricultural productivity. That is also, this is our agricultural research study. I think I want to discuss with you, but I don't think it is no time. Okay. Okay. Another green revolution because we are pouring chemicals, and today the even agricultural scientists coming to the conclusion that they are what is called as recommending for organic farming practices, whatever in order to avoid land uh, degradation. So I'll go directly to the conclusion because of the okay. So at the end, I think we are all familiar that you all understood what are the major environmental changes and impacts issues are there in India, and how to overcome that. That is most important. One is sustainability at the local level. This is which we have to practice. Sustainability is the need of our many changes in the organization of modern human life that are central for shift towards more sustainability. We have to change our attitudes, and residential and commercial areas need to be planned to be reached easily, and non-car transportation links such as bicycles, lanes, or trams need to be provided. And because every one of us, we are using vehicles, and think of what is our contribution of carbon output and sustainable future of the earth and humanity, how well we can utilize natural resources such as water, minerals, fossil fuels, and others. That is most important, that we have to change ourselves, which we have to practice. Okay, that is most important. And I think you're all familiar that lifestyle for environment, that is life. This is a call for Shri Narendra Modi while delivering India's national statement at COP26 held at Glasgow in November 21. I think that this is what which it is need of the hour, that every one of us which we have to take into consider. So our Prime Minister invited all countries to join life movement, which is pro people and pro planet effort, seeking to shift to the world from mindless to the wasteful consumption to mindful and to deliberate utilization of natural resources. Okay. So even also in the World Environment Day 2023, I think you're all familiar, India is moving. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that India is moving ahead with a clear roadmap for environment protection and climate change, while maintaining a balance between present requirements and future vision. So therefore, according to me, let India together work for safe life only with protection of environment. So I think all of us need to take all the measures, and moreover the study is required, issues which we have to understood, and more of the policies makers, administrators, politicians, and even professors, lecturers, and all the students, everybody should come together, okay, to protect our environment for our future sustainable life, in order to survive life in this planet, particularly biosphere. It is very, very important, which we have to control pollution and reduce the resources. Then only it is possible for future generation can live in this planet for in the same manner but today we are consuming the resources for our daily life. So with this, I thank all of you for your patience. Maybe it may be some disturbance initially, but even then, I think this is what we have discussed. Maybe if any clarifications, any questions, please. I am happy to interact with you. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Are you audible? Sir, audible?
Yeah. Now I would like to request participant, please ask question if any. Please have some discussion with our resource person.
I think no questions.
Yeah.
Dr. Nirav Pandey,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
do you want to ask anything?
And one question is there.
Yeah, please.
So there are some means in our society to
Okay.
throw in a water we get something means so such myths are there and people are not very ready to means avoid these things and they are not very keen to have hello.
Yeah, please. Please
They are
loudly.
very change their views regarding this. What should be done for that?
No, this is regarding resources.
No, sir, some myths are there. Everything they are putting in the water, everything they are throwing, even the garbage is thrown in the rivers and water bodies, and they are getting polluted. Trained, uh, if they are trained and told not to do this, such we can come over to these problems of water solutions to some extent.
Problem. Who is? I think it is a problem by human activity only because until and unless without knowing the value of the resources. Okay. Suppose early morning, no, the people they carry the waste material and dump into the river bodies, isn't it? Is it the way? Because he may be not knowing the value of the resources. So you don't know about if the waste is dumped into the water bodies, whether it will going to contaminate and how it will going to impact on aquatic life as well as his own when he is consuming water bodies, same water body. So this is the trend that the attitude has to change. The awareness is very important. But more than that, the environmental citizen, he should be being one of the part of environmental citizen. Then only it is possible that until otherwise, without having concern about environment, the most important is he should develop concern and importance of the environmental resources. Then only it is possible so that he will going to what is called as avoid the dumping of any such type of plastic, sewage, or whatever the waste which is he wanted to throw into the water bodies. So that is most important. Even though we have a law, even though we have a ethics is very important. Environmental ethics, environmental law, more than that, environmental ethics and concern is important. I think you're all following.
Yes, sir. I think much big fine should be there for such people who are.
Yeah, most important. If mind is polluted, I think, isn't it? We are doing some the bad
We should
things.
aware
Next.
society. Yes.
Yes, next, please.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, sir. I think
Anyone
there are no
ask the
questions.
question? Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
From my side. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, there is a concept which is being promoted by Government of India, smart city concept. So, how do you think the concept and the implementation of smart cities can mitigate the problem of environmental issues?
I think not
and
properly hearing.
can we promote the concept of smart villages or smart towns for the betterment of our society and awareness in the mindset of common people? Hello,
Yes, sir. Sir, say loudly, sir.
sir. My question is, government of India is promoting the concept of smart
अरे
cities.
sound करता है ना?
Okay, am I audible, sir?
Bluetooth connect है.
Hello.
Narayan, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now it
Am
is
am I
audible,
audible?
please.
Yeah.
Hello?
Sir, this government is promoting the concept of smart cities, and smart cities have been shortlisted and working is going on. My question is, or what extent the smart cities concept is
Hello?
feasible? Is feasible? The concept of smart cities is feasible to mitigate environmental issues, and and if we can implement concept of smart towns or smart villages to aware the common people about environmental issues.
ಅದೇ ಕಡಿಮೆ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಲೌಡ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಹೌದಾ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಲೀವ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ ಲೀವ್ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಜಾಯಿನ್
Hello.
Dr. Nirav, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please
Sir, I
proceed for
think
the.
Narayan sir disconnected.
Yeah. He's facing some technical problem. You may proceed for the vote of thanks.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Although, sir, there was some connectivity issue in your area. I mean, sir's area. So still, sir, stay connected with us and share a lot of their various aspects which is related to environmental issues and their challenges. Sir, I am thanking you on behalf of each one of us. We are honored to listen to you, sir. I wish we are going to spread knowledge shared by you to make our environment better, sir. Once again, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Over to Praveen sir.